Is it just me, or does the break between round 3 at Melbourne and round 4 at Suzuka feel like it's going on for a lifetime? Whether due to the feral anticipation caused by Carlos Sainz taking the top step last time out, or due to the seasons changing in a matter of days here in the UK, returning to Suzuka feels like it's been a long time coming, and seeing the Japanese Grand Prix so early in the season just feels right. It's a time of change as we return to Japan with Sakura season coming to a close, an analogy we are sure will be used until it's tedious over the course of the weekend. And the changes aren't limited to the weather, as teams will be starting to implement changes that they deemed necessary following testing and round 1 all those weeks ago. With teams that have already revealed their first upgrades last week at Melbourne, we've seen just how potent upgrades can be early on in the season due to the largest revelations over testing being ones that fix fundamental issues or potentially bring greater performance that can guarantee tenths of a second. From minor tweaks to major overhauls, we think there may just be some pretty spicy developments coming this week that will change the natural order. However, for some teams, it's more a case of make or break, as they desperately try and correct a ship that may already be sunk. Want to know who could be due for a leap forward this weekend? And stick around, because with some teams failing to act, we could see some pretty big hitters falling behind. Last time out in Melbourne, we saw a pretty minor yet meaningful change to the Ferrari car, something that likely assisted the team in securing that impressive 1-2. If you were watching the race, you may have noticed that the Ferrari was handling the high tyre degradation Melbourne circuit incredibly well, with Sainz comfortably easing his tyres through the stints. The upgrade that Ferrari bought with them was a new rear wing, which, while fairly simple, may well have made the difference in rear downforce at a circuit where rear tyres, especially the right rear, proved troublesome for other teams. However, it seems the Scuderia aren't resting on their laurels, and while the first major update isn't penned in until around round 7 at Imola, Ferrari have fast-tracked some upgrades in an attempt to make them available prior to the sprint weekend in China, the round following Japan. This will be in the hopes that by having a full understanding of the minor tweaks they plan to bring, the team will be able to maximize the points haul on a weekend where the most points are on offer. It seems that other teams will be avoiding 5th round upgrades too, however, more on that later. Carlos Sainz attempted to downplay Ferrari's competitive credentials, with the Spaniard insisting that Red Bull will return to their habit of being at least 2 tenths down the road this weekend at Suzuka, something that, if rumors are to be believed, may not be unfounded. Carlos's reasons, however, are based on what he and his team can control, and that is that they are not bringing any major upgrades until the aforementioned round 7 at Imola. Following the Australian Grand Prix, Sainz had this to say: "Our car worked really well this weekend, but it's going to be tough to keep it up there in every track until we bring an upgrade to close that gap that we saw in Bahrain and Jeddah. But around Australia from lap 1, it felt like a race-winning car. There will be tracks where we are strong like we saw last year, and this year it seems like our race pace is better even on those tracks where we were stronger, and together with a good development program, I hope we can challenge Red Bull more often." Speaking of Red Bull, the Milton Keynes racing outfit and their Faenza sister team are expected to be bringing some pretty substantial tweaks this weekend. However, the extent to how dramatic these changes will be is still yet to be seen. Despite this, however, we have had some pretty clear indications on what we could see this weekend from the championship leaders. The crystal balls at Autosport gave a premonition about what they expect, with the publication proclaiming, "As F1 moves to Japan in early April, where temperatures will drop and cooling will be less marginal, the RB20 will be upgraded to a design reminiscent of the Mercedes Zero-Pod concept." Which, if this is the case, will be a pretty extreme departure from Red Bull's approach to date. Obviously, there were murmurings about Red Bull's package this year and its similarities to principles seen on the previous Mercedes packages, from which the Brackley team has since departed, or rather abandoned. However, upon seeing it on track, it was clear that the Red Bull was a different beast entirely. The aim of the upgrades will likely be to resolve the heating issues that have caused some issues for their package so far, in spite of their early season success, as well as more efficiently directing airflow to the ever-dominant floor design on the Red Bull car. When asked about the upcoming upgrades, Max Verstappen kept all of the cards close to his chest in a rather tongue-in-cheek manner, as he said, "Well, I mean, the color will be the same, you will see." However, Max also remained open to the variations in characteristics between the cars, which may throw up some surprises, especially with Suzuka throwing up some pretty individual characteristics and weather conditions. Max continued, So far, good, but of course everyone has a bit of a different characteristic in their car as well, so it's not a given that we will be really competitive like last year, but I'm excited. It's a track I really enjoy. I know that I'm confident with the car, I feel good. Especially I think we shouldn't have been on pole in Melbourne, but the laps that we did were really good. So I just want to have a good weekend again and feel good with the car. The team most likely to take a pretty substantial leap forward this weekend, however, is the Red Bull sister team RB, with the team already taking a pretty substantial stride forward last weekend following a new wing of their own, which in tandem with the misfortune of others down the road led to an impressive P7 finish for Yuki Tsunoda, who will be looking to score further points at his home race this coming weekend. The wing not only improved performance but also reduced the weight on the car, something RB has made a critical aim for the season, as well as improving airflow, with cooling problems linked to the internal airflow being an issue that the team was aware of before the season even begun. As well as fighting with one hand behind their back due to the malperforming Daniel Ricciardo, RB have been well aware that their package hasn't met the expectations they had prior to the season. However, technical director Jody Egginton hopes that the team will be closing in on that desired form sooner rather than later. As he said, I expect that we will be able to start taking full advantage of the upcoming events, with the aim of entering the battle in the middle of the field as soon as possible. We can't wait for the next phase of the season. The group in the center is very small. We will focus on making every update count. Yuki Tsunoda and Honda will be hoping that a pretty major floor upgrade will be the difference maker in the team's fortunes this season, which not only will distance their car further from last year's design, but also resolve some of the internal cooling issues which have led to compromised race setups in the early rounds so far this season. It's not all positives around the paddock, however, as some teams look like they'll be moving backwards or just standing still, which in this sport is moving backwards, with the worst affected being Williams, who so far this season are yet to score a single point, something they will want to rectify if they plan on retaining Alex Albon past his 2025 contract. The moving backwards we speak of is due to the team starting the season without a third chassis being available, something that caused the rather stomach-churning situation seen at the team last week, where Logan Sargent had to give up his car to his teammate whose crash caused the issue in the first place. The crash would have implications beyond the weekend, however, with team principal James Vowles responding to questions surrounding the crash's long-term effects on the team's upgrade intentions, saying, "Without doubt, it will do. No team plans not to have a third chassis, not in modern day Formula 1. The last time I had that was back in 2009 with Brawn. As we try and move through processing systems and transformation, something's being pushed out the back, and in this case, it's the third chassis. So that also means that, as we go through now, we have updates planned and other items planned, but I'm having to divert the entire workforce in getting this chassis in a good state, without losing the momentum we have had on the third chassis and on updates. Something will give, there's no doubt about it." Meanwhile, other teams like Mercedes have been silent in regards to their upgrades. However, it's hard to tell whether they even know where to start in regards to upgrading their package, as it seems they lack the understanding to correctly diagnose the issues in the first place, as indicated by their shotgun approach to fixes so far this season. Perhaps waiting until they can be more precise is for the best. However, for the meantime, they are simply stood still, which in this sport, as we said, is moving backwards.